Hello everyone, Emiliya here from the Flourishing Center. Today's video blog is about positive psychiatry. Next week, I am speaking at the American Psychiatric Association's annual conference, and I'll have a short little window of time to introduce psychiatrists to the field of positive psychology and offer some ideas, some food for thought, or some inspiration about how they can integrate the science of positive psychology into their work. And I thought it might be interesting to share with you some of the highlights or key points that I will be speaking to them about. Perhaps you know a psychiatrist, perhaps you've seen a psychiatrist, and perhaps you are just curious about how these two fields could be intertwined. Psychiatry is defined as the study of treatment of mental illness, emotional disturbances, and abnormal behavior. And like psychology, psychiatry comes from the more traditional disease model of saying, how do we study and treat mental illness? And so one of the big things I'm going to be emphasizing to these doctors is that the concept that was created by Dr. Corey Keyes and other positive psychologists of what we call the mental health continuum. It was frequently thought of as the option as either having mental health or having mental illness. And this is the way that people often think about it, is that if I am mentally ill or something is not working, I am diagnosed with something like depression or anxiety, or I have a psychosis or a neurosis, that I am ill. And that is absence of health. And the mental health continuum points out that this is not true, that it's not either you're healthy or you're sick. It's that you can actually find yourself on a quadrant where you can score high on mental health, low on mental health, high on mental illness, low on mental illness, and that people can find themselves in blends, meaning a person can have no diagnosable disease or disorder, which means they're low on mental illness. However, just because they're low on mental illness does not mean that they have the tools for being mentally healthy. The mental health is more than the absence of illness. And likewise, just because a person has a diagnosis, let's say they have higher mental illness or medium amount of mental illness, does not mean that they can't also have the tools for mental health. And so my message next week will be a call to action to explore how can people flourish with mental illness. In particular, I'm going to point out how psychiatrists can integrate positive psychology interventions into their work with people. I'm going to focus on three in particular: gratitude, character strengths, and hope, knowing that one, gratitude is a powerful way to get people pulled out of themselves and connected to the world around them. Because when we feel grateful, we feel that we're receiving good things from the world around us, and can be really, really helpful for diagnoses such as depression. I'll talk about character strengths and how we can build strengths within ourselves and within others, and that even though a person has illness or has things that are not working in their life, does not mean that they can't also learn about their strengths, learn how to utilize their strengths to tackle what they're facing, and enhance their experience of their strengths, using them more on a day-to-day basis. And then hope and optimism, the importance of having people be asked what can they hope for given these circumstances. So often when things are not working, we can only see what's immediately in front of us. And just opening up the vantage point a little bit more to say, what can a person hope for? And my last call to action for psychiatrists is going to be to invite them to be on the lookout for isolation and loneliness. The reason this is something I'm really passionate about is I've been floored by the research that shows that loneliness and depression often get misdiagnosed. A person will come in and they seem as though they have all the symptoms of depression, and they get prescribed an antidepressant to help them deal with their serotonin reuptake. And the situation is not necessarily just that they're depressed. They're depressed because they're isolated, they're lonely, they're disconnected. Maybe they feel like they don't belong. And so I will have a call to action to just remind psychiatrists to look at the nuanced differences between when is it true depression and when is it isolation. Because when it's isolation, we need people, not pills. And so that will be my call to action as well. So hopefully you've maybe gotten a little nugget or two out of this, and feel free to share this with anyone that you know. And maybe the video blog afterwards next week, I will let you know how it goes. Thanks for watching, and I wish you a flourishing rest of your day.